Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. Welcome to our webinar. I am so glad you were able to join us today. And if you happen to be watching this on the recording, I'm glad you found us on either YouTube or on Illinois WorkNet. Today our topic is going to be on career transition, and it's about making changes to your current pathway to a new career pathway. So let's start the presentation out with a polling question. Right now I'd like to know, are you in career transition? Maybe not yet, but you're planning ahead because you know something's happening. Or do you actually work with people who are in career transition? Maybe you're one of our workforce professionals on the webinar today. All right, looks like we've got quite a few people who have answered. We still have a few people who haven't yet, so take just a moment to get that taken care of before we move on. And, all right, I'm going to close the poll. Let's get started with our presentation. And what we're going to talk about today is, what is your plan? Everybody has to have a plan. And one of the things that we found, and I found this article from CNBC, it says that 8.5 million Americans still don't have jobs. 40% have given up looking. I don't know if that's you or not, but that is down from 2014, where 47% of those that were without jobs had stopped looking. Now, just a couple of stats here. 57% of men versus 43% of women have stopped looking. And the age groups are 18 to 29-year-olds and those over 50. Also, people without college degrees. Now, let's go by a show of hands. Raise your hand. Do you fall into one of those categories? Are you a man that's in there? Are you either under 29 or over 50? Or do you not have a college degree? So, okay, so it looks like we've got quite a few people who fall into one of those categories. So what happens is, according to a Harris poll that was taken of about 1,500 working age Americans that was done for express employment professionals, the duration of your job search matters. The longer someone has been out of work, the more likely it is that they've quit looking. 55% of people were unemployed for more than 2 years. 32% of people were unemployed for 13 to 24 months, and 21% of people were only out of work for 3 months and have stopped looking. Now, according to most of the unemployment information that we have currently, the national rate has dropped to 5.4%, which is good news because that's the lowest level since May of 2008. And as of July 2015, Illinois was at 5.8% unemployment. Now, we all know that that ranges depending on where you live and the different economic development region that you happen to be in. It might be higher in one city and lower in another. But overall, for the state of Illinois, it's 5.8%. So that's actually good news because things have gotten a lot better from when we were in that 9% range. But still, you need to have a plan. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of those things today. What to do. You have a choice to make about the next step in your career. Which path will you take? Are you going to stay the same? Are you going to go a new direction? Or are you just indecisive? You just can't quite tell. Let's define the term first, what career transition actually means. The process of making a career or job change, for example, going from military life to civilian employment, or maybe a midlife career change. And then career transition services or job transition services is where you get information and services that are available through Illinois WorkNet, for one of them, to assist you with the process of changing careers. Some examples that we might use are learning about careers, starting a career plan, creating a resume, searching for jobs, interviewing for a job. All of these services are found throughout our website, illinoisworknet.com. Now, what happens during a career transition? These are the steps that most people will follow when they are trying to make that decision to find out what they want to do. You would do a little bit of self-assessment. What do you have to offer a new employer? Exploration. You want to research growing fields. Decision making. Do you need to update your skills before you begin your next steps? Goal setting and action planning. Map out your path to a new career. Job search. It's pretty obvious you want to send out some resumes, apply for positions, attend some interviews. Or career management. Plan how you build credibility in your new career field. So now let's take a look. This is a screenshot from Illinois WorkNet. We have a number of user guides to help you make the right choice in your next step to a career transition. And we've entered several of the actual guides into the download and print section on our webinar today. So if you want to take a look at those, then you can take a look at those handouts, the printed handouts that you need to use. Sometimes a career transition is moving from one position to a very similar one within the same field or a similar field. Your transition may be very simple with that, but if you're looking for a bigger transition, we have options there as well. Two of the main options that we have on Illinois WorkNet will help you do your information to help you make that decision about what your career transition is going to be. First option is to go to each menu item and explore the items that you need. Maybe you need one and not the other. So maybe you just need to find wages and trends to help you make a decision about which new career path you want to pursue. Then you just need to update a couple of computer skills, brush up on work ethics, and then update your resume. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's all done. Then you need to just find a couple of job fairs, get a refresher on how to use LinkedIn, and boom, you're in the job search full force. The second option is Employment 101, where you will be guided through a self-directed study path to help you with each step of your career transition. This Employment 101 is also a fantastic tool for new and re-emerging job seekers who may not have a clue about which direction they want to go. So all you have to do is go to Illinois WorkNet. Chelsea put the link in the chat pod for Employment 101. And again, if you have any questions, all you have to do is type them in the chat pod and we'll try and get those answered for you. What type of skills do you have? Articles are written everywhere about which side of your brain do you use most. Right-brained people, like me, I'm a right-brained person, tend to be more creative versus left-brained people who strive on analytical concepts. Most often, depending upon which side of your brain is more dominant, you may express skills and talents or show interests related to the way your brain functions. Trying to fit into a job that doesn't match your skills and interests is like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And I just put these two shapes up here just for illustration. What I want to do now is I want to how to go from general labor to a market with a philosophy degree. Derek, I'm not quite sure what your question is. You may need to clarify that a little bit for us. But let me pull up a poll question here. And it says, have you done a skills assessment? All right, we're going to hide this poll question now, and we're going to go on to the next slide. A skills assessment helps you determine what skills you currently have. You've spent many hours at your current or previous job performing tasks and using skills that have been the building blocks for what you are today. Are those skills still current and able to help you land a position in a career path that will keep you from looking for another job in a short period of time? Use some of the assessment tools available on Illinois workNet to help you understand what your skills and interests focus upon. We have two separate tools that you can use. The CIS Skills Profiler, pictured on the slides that we see, or the Skills Assessment tool that's also included in our Resume Builder. And you can access the Resume Builder and the Skills Assessment through your Illinois workNet dashboard. The Skills Assessment includes, on the Resume Builder, includes a skills inventory that identifies and describes your marketable skills and abilities. It includes an accomplishment sheet that helps you identify and discuss relevant accomplishments for specific occupations, and it includes a proficiency list that you can identify and discuss occupation-specific skills. Once you have completed all of the profilers that you see on the screen here or in the Resume Builder, you can take the next step to examine jobs in different career paths. Now, this screen actually shows you jobs that we can help you find, especially through Illinois Pathways jobs that offer suggested positions in demand occupations. And we'll talk about demand occupations in other webinars, and moving forward, we may just do a webinar on demand occupations. Let's pull out another poll question for you right now. Who knows what transferable skills are? All right, while we're waiting for people to answer this question, how can I transition from a general labor job to one in philosophy with an associate's degree? Good question. Philosophy is typically one of those jobs that you may need to do a little bit more research on. I would make sure that I check the career wages and trends to see if it is a high growth position, because sometimes philosophy positions are held at universities or possibly in the religious area, and some of those may or may not be high growth positions, and you don't want to put yourself in a place where you're going to be having to look for a job in the future. Hopefully that answered your question. Let's hide the poll because I think we covered all of that. And in the career wages and trends area, where you will find these high growth areas to explore, you can look for some of those kind of jobs based on keywords, and philosophy might be that one keyword. The page where all of these demand occupations are is a link that I believe Chelsea just posted, so you can take a look, and anything that has the icon right here are considered demand occupations. And if you find the industry that has this arrow right here, those are considered Illinois pathways, which in Illinois should be higher growth areas, whole career areas, to help you with that. What about careers that hire elder persons? Any of them should. There may be a differentiation between the physical capabilities, so you may need to look at some of the information in the demand occupations that answer the what does this physically require of me, and whether or not you are capable of doing that. Let's move on to the next slide. We're going to talk a little bit here about transferable skills. Every job that you find in your exploration phase will require some sort of job-specific skills. We call those technical skills. What you learned in school, whether it's high school, college, or trade school, are called academic skills. Another area that we're going to discuss now in a couple of minutes are called workplace skills. Now, all of those things are pretty much defined by what they actually entail. But if you're coming from another career field, you've earned a number of skills that you can take with you to another job. Those skills are called transferable skills, and this word cloud that's pictured represents many of the most common transferable skills that are available. The link on the page there provides a checklist that you can work with to determine your list of transferable skills. And before we move on, I'm going to see if Chelsea can type really fast and get that into the chat pod so that everybody can access that list for in the future. And remember, go through the chat, click on the links, and they will open up to a new window for you so that you can access all of those links after the webinar is over. All right, Chelsea, are you going to be able to get that for me? We're going to move on here. All right. In addition to your transferable skills, you may just need an update to a few of your technical skills, and you could be back in a new position very quickly. We have a number of resources to help you tune up. And computer skills are very relevant today in almost all of the industries. So make sure that you know how to use a computer, what the keyboard is doing, different software applications, and we have links for all of these on Illinois WorkNet to help you with that so that you can get to them very quickly. We have our digital literacy guide that can be accessed by this link that I'm just entering into the chat pod right now. Let's pull up our next poll question. Tell me what workplace skills, or as we also call them, soft skills, include. And we'll give you just a moment to take a look at those so that you can answer them. All right, it looks like we've got people answering quite a few of them. All right. I'm going to advance the slide and start talking while you guys are finishing up answering this poll question. In the, Arlene, to answer your question, on this page where the digital literacy is, there is a link to some of the software programs that you're talking about. If you go to, we can't see it now because of the poll question. I'm going to close it. If you click into this box on software and apps, it takes you to a link where you can access some free online training for the programs that you are talking about. Moving on to the next slide. Leadership, teamwork, communication, problem solving, strategic thinking. Just a moment ago, we mentioned workplace skills. These are also known as soft skills. These kind of skills are things that we learn, but not necessarily in a classroom environment. Workplace skills are useful on every job, every job. We have a couple of links here that I gathered some information from a ZipRecruiter article. The 5 items that are on the screen are considered the most important top 5 job skills that employers are looking for in 2015. Leadership, ability to work in a team or teamwork, written communication skills, problem-solving skills, and strong work ethic. From a Bloomberg article that had the 2015 Job Skills Report, the more common, more desired include analytical thinking, ability to work collaboratively, and then other ones that are a little bit less common but more desired include strategic thinking, creative problem solving, leadership, and communication. And the United States doesn't have anything on all of this because even in New Zealand, there was a list that included communication skills, customer service skills, ability to work in a team, literacy and numeracy skills, that means the ability to read and work with numbers properly, confidence learning about and using computers and technology, planning and organizational skills, initiative and a can-do attitude, problem-solving skills, good work habits and independence, health and safety skills. So all of those things are part of the workplace or soft skills that you need to be able to exhibit during the course of your interviewing process. Now, on Illinois WorkNet, this is part of the Job Skills Guide page, and we have a link for our workplace skills that I'm going to put into, oh, Chelsea just got it for me. All of these are available to you if you need a refresher on any of these soft skills. We have these resources for you. And coming up, we have a webinar the next 3 Wednesdays. We have webinars on these particular topics. We're going to cover the first 3, then the second 3, and then the last 3. And you can register for our upcoming webinar series at the link that Chelsea just put in the chat pod. And again, all of these webinars are paid for through some federal training dollars, and so they're offered free to you. Now let's talk a little bit more about how can you find your skills. In addition to all of our assessment tools, you may want to review these items to help you identify all of your skills that you can bring to a new job. Learn how to rephrase them to transfer them from one type of position to the next. You want to look at what you've done in your past, including your volunteer activities and anything that you've trained for. You want to list any of your academic, technical, and soft skills that were used. And you want to use these skills as keywords. Remember, keywords are important to update your resume, any job applications, and on your LinkedIn profile. Because many times if somebody is using an automatic tracking system for their applications that they receive, they'll be looking for those keywords, and you want to make sure that you can use them on there. Oh, goodness, we have so many resources available for resumes, especially on Illinois WorkNet, but basically, depending on how much experience you have, no more than 2 pages. Now, if you are in the educational field, your curriculum vitae may be longer, but then that wouldn't necessarily be the case in the business work world. Okay, what to do? So let's talk about what options have you considered. We've got some questions here. You can upgrade your skills and stay in the same field. You can shift paths but stay in the same industry. You can change to a totally different career path, or you could start your own business. Suppose you were at your job for many years or in a position that has been eliminated because of technology, or perhaps you have just been discharged from the military and were a heavy artillery gunner. Whatever the reason, it may be time to select a totally new career path. Before you choose, you should complete some research for your decision. All of the self-assessment and exploration steps that we just talked about are things that you can do to help you shed light on a couple of options that brought a new way of thinking about your career path. You can find labor market information on Illinois workNet and through the Illinois Department of Employment Security in their workforce information links. And Chelsea's going to post those in the chat pod for you so that you can access those. Check the links that include the Help Wanted Online and employment projections. Those are both very useful for you to find out what's going on in the industry that you want to work. Now, the decision-making process begins. Reemployment, skills update, or a total retraining. It's really and truly up to you about what you're going to do. Now let's take a look. Are you ready to go down a new road? Review the career wages and trends information one more time. Our Illinois workNet resources also offer additional resources that include the Occupations Outlook Handbook, and we've got a couple of links here that we're going to add. It's bls.gov/OOH for the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and ONET Online. Both of those are there to help you make sure that you're picking the right career path information. Let me grab those links and put them in the chat pod for you. There we go. Oh, Chelsea got them too. All right. Now, one of the things that may happen is if you go to a new career path, it may require some training. So you may end up having to go to school. One of the things that you can do is check to see if there's any workforce innovation and occupation assistance available for you, and that you can find through the actual Illinois workNet centers. One of the things that may come about is you might find some training programs, and one of the places that you can look for is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act programs that are approved. Local workforce development boards have identified them as programs that are qualified for the WIOA funded training. One of the requirements for many of these programs is that they lead to high demand occupations, and we've talked about that already. Use the searches below to review options for WIOA eligible training programs and training providers offering the WIOA approved training programs. We've got some of those links that Chelsea just put in the pod as well. We also have training providers that provide post-secondary programs that are approved by the Illinois Community College Board and the Illinois Board of Higher Education, and include technical and vocational schools, trade schools, art and design schools, and adult education. Apprenticeship opportunities are available too if you want to do a little bit more hands-on type of training. They offer, those apprenticeships also offer paid on-the-job training combined with classroom training at the same time. Now, adult education and a variety of other literacy programs help adults obtain the basic skills they need to be more productive workers. We do have a resource available to help you find that information as well. Excuse me, the major programs are adult basic education, adult secondary education, and English language acquisition. These programs emphasize basic skills such as reading, writing, math, learning English, and problem solving. All right. And last but not least, you may decide to start your own business. Now, according to a Huffington Post article that I just read, instead of waiting around for a company to see your value, it may be time to strike out on your own. Millions of Americans already are. In fact, 543,000 new businesses are created every month. 543,000 new businesses are created every month. These small businesses have added nearly 40 million jobs to the U.S. economy in the last 30 years. Now, the Small Business Administration defines a small business as having less than 500 employees. Excuse me, over 50% of the working population work in a small business. 65% of the net new jobs since 1995 are attributed to small businesses. 52% of small businesses are home-based. Approximately 75% of all U.S. business are non-employer businesses. That means that they don't have any other employees, and they make more than $1,000 in annual receipts. So that's huge because small businesses are running the United States. All right, let's move on to our next slide. Derek asked a question, where to find leads for investment capital. We actually have an entire series excuse me, that we did on starting a business, and one of those was on finance. So you can go to illinoisworknet.com/startup and find that information on all of our recordings and webinars that we already have done. And look, there's the link right there. If you need more information on starting your own business, visit our webpage. We have articles, videos, recorded webinars, handouts, SlideShare links, and links to additional resources to help you get up and running. So thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you picked up a few tips and tricks. Watch for our news item about this webinar. We will include all of the links in the news article. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at info@illinoisworknet.com. Let's go to our closing slide so that we can get some feedback on today's webinar from all of you. We'll leave the webinar open for a few minutes so that if you did not get the links and would like them, you can take those, click on them, and be able to go to the sites that we mentioned during the webinar. All right, I don't see any other questions coming up that I need to answer. So I'm going to close our recording for the day. If I did miss something, please send us a message. And oh, I see a question that I did miss. I just turned 55 and have been in my current position for 18 years. I feel that no one wants a middle-aged neophyte, and what do I say to a potential employer who asks, why are you looking for a new position after so long? I have very good written skills and a strong work ethic. My question to Barbara, who asked that question, would be, are you going to a brand new job in a totally new field, or are you just looking for a new job? So if Barbara happens to still be on the webinar and can answer that in the chat pod, I would appreciate it. While I'm waiting for Barbara. Oh, and Chelsea answered the question. I couldn't find any info on logistics training. You look in the TDL career cluster, which is transportation, distribution, and logistics. That would be on the Exploring Careers page that we put into the chat pod. And you can look for the Explore Career Pathways. It's one of the handouts in the download and print pod. All right. I'm going to try to answer here for Barbara because she must not have heard me ask the question. Oh, she's typing. I see her typing now. A new path in the same industry. Okay. With that, you may want to just express the fact that you're trying to broaden your horizons. I keep looking for new information on a regular basis to help broaden my reach. I just keep growing and growing, and maybe that's what you need to express to somebody, that you felt stagnant after the 18 years and you're ready to explore a new chapter. When you are moving, make sure that you use your list of transferable skills that you can bring with you to a new position. Where appearance is a factor. Okay, so Derek just asked a question, what options for professional jobs with missing teeth where appearance is a factor? That may require some help from a dentist. I'm not sure. Smiling can be a big part of meeting new people, and if you have some dental work that needs to be completed, you can look for some of the supportive services that might be available, and possibly talk to possibly United Way in your area to see if there are any dentists that do any pro bono work. You might be able to find some resources there. That's a couple of suggestions that I can think of just off the top of my head that you can start with and look through the Illinois workNet services locator there. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. I am going to end the recording, but if there's, I'll stay on the line for a minute just in case anybody